Greetings, all you listeners of the White Doctrine. I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and I'm coming at you with another chapter review of Fairy Tale 100 Years Quest. This time is chapter 32, titled Star Dress Mix, where Lucy has gained this new ability. Well, she's apparently already had it, but she's breaking it out for the first time, where we see she's able to combine two of her star dress forms in order to create an even more powerful ability, and she's bringing it out in the clash against the Strauss siblings. So, it's a combination of Leo's power as well as Virgo's, and I love the fact that Lizana at first is like, "Oh, it looks so pretty," before she's just like, "Wait, what?" It's just like, yeah, it's very pretty and very charming. The only downside is you just kind of know it's not really gonna amount to much because certain characters are just so maintained within their lanes of power. And no matter what, no matter how many cool power ups Lucy seems to get, it never seems to be enough. Like, she is one of the most consistently growing characters in all of Fairy Tale outside of like Natsu or Grayer, but she never seems to really get a win in. Lucy is constantly handed L's at every turn, despite the fact that she seems to grow in power and ability. You know, every time she actually powers up to a certain degree that I want her to power up, she kind of takes a loss, and I'm like, ah. But I'm never mad at Lucy because, unlike some other female characters, like, I'm just gonna call him out Sakura or Orihime. It's like at least she's trying. That's the difference. Because it always felt like Sakura or Orihime never really tried enough. But at least with Lucy, she's trying, and I honestly give her more props for that than anything else. But enough of my personal gripes and all that good stuff. Let's get stuck in as she makes it kind of known that, well, their powers were never meant to be used in this particular way. It's a very unstable form for the most part. And in exchange for gaining all of this power, it has a limited use time, which makes sense, you know? Just being able to bust something out like this is just like, why don't you use this all the time? Of course, there has to be a little give and take in terms of ability like this. So, Lucy wants to finish it quickly. Lazada busts out her own, like, really powered up animal soul form, her own takeover form, which is Animal Soul Nine-Tailed Fox, which is pretty cool. But again, like, it's not gonna amount to too much. Like, again, another character who I love to see in actual combat, Lizana. She has cool abilities. It's just that she's not displayed to be fairly powerful with these abilities, which is unfortunate, but she sends out her attack called Fox Impact. I'm not sure what she's shooting out, but I'll assume it's like Foxfire or something. But, you know, Lucy manages to survive it, and then she blends together the light of Regulus, which is Leo's light, into her palms, and then she brings out the Spica's Radiance, which is Virgo's ability, and then she creates this massive attack that starts shooting out these beams of light from, you know, these holes in the ground. So you have Virgo's Spica holes, which Virgo always drilling holes within the ground, and then you have Leo's light all coming out from these holes within the floor. And so she starts to blast back Lazana. Mary Jane takes notice of this attack on Lazana, but it's too late as Lucy's just like, okay, with this, I'll try to take out both Mira Jane and Elfman all within the same blow. So all of them just get caught up in this massive blast of light from within the ground, and it looks like a mighty strong attack. Like, dude, this looks powerful. It looks pretty badass. And, you know, Lucy reverts to her, I think it's the Leo dress form. And, for most part, it's just like, okay, so you're still able to maintain your lesser dress form. So you still have some energy within you. That's good. It's not like she unloaded everything that she had within her. And, Lizana's taken out. But just like I kind of figured, both Elfman and Mira Jane are still standing. And Mira Jane and Elfman are especially pissed because it's just like, oh, how dare you take out our little sister? And even Loki kind of comments the same thing I'm thinking. It's just like, dude, they're still standing? I can understand Mira Jane, but Elfman? Dude, was he always this strong? And well, Elfman, yeah, he has kind of boosted his attack power. And I always kind of figured he was a little bit more on the powerful side than Lucy. I'm like, but Lucy's been through so much over the years. I would have thought she had at least boosted her power a bit more than that. And we also see that Virgo has been completely tied up by Mira Jade. So, Lucy's between a rock and a hard place. She really has nothing left. Her trump card amounted to all of nothing. Meanwhile, we pop in on Toka the White Witch, who is kind of monitoring the battles between everyone, keeping track of the remaining orbs, and just reciting to the audience what needs to be accomplished by her team. Just taking down the various 4 orbs. Will leave the wood god dragon Alderaan prone to her cleansing of magical power. Meanwhile, we cut in on Wendy and Carla, who are racing towards the nearby town on the right hand in order to find the location of that orb. But they also end up seeing this light out of this one cathedral, so it kind of makes me feel like they might be already too late. Urza, meanwhile, is racing to the town on the left hand, and she ends up coming upon one of the churches, but before she can get in there, she ends up having a clash with Jet and Deroy, who she immediately just owns. Like, again, the power scaling in this is kind of consistent in terms of where members of Fairy Tail place in terms of ability, and yeah, Jet and Deroy have not been shit for a good long time. Like, at most, they were pretty capable around the time of, I want to say, when they had the whole Battle of Fairy Tail last time. That was like the most prominent thing they ever had afterwards, and that was about the end of it. Just kind of petered out from there. It's sad. They have good abilities, just never get to use them. But whatever. Urza goes into the next location of the orb, enters in only to have a run-in with none other than Jalal. But, Urza comes in and she questions Jalal, why were you even at our guild when this whole thing went down? He explains, I was trying to track the White Witch and ended up at the guild hall, and that's where I began to learn about the magnificent teachings of the White Doctrine. So Urza once again goes into her, I sacrifice all my defensive ability for my offensive ability, goes into her bandage booby, little baggy pants form where she just has the one sword, which has become such a go-to for her. And I'm just like, dude, one of Urza's most prominent thing was her various different forms of armor. That was her thing. That was the interesting thing that she had going for her, but you don't do that anymore, which has really kind of gotten sad. She always goes into this form now, going straight for offensive ability, which is fine, but God, come on. That was her gimmick. That was her thing, and we don't do that enough anymore. But then Jadal does something unexpected, and he strips down to his skivvies and tells Urza to come on. I'm right in front of you. Come at me. And Urza, being the delicate little flower that she is, gets immediately flustered by seeing the almost completely naked Jalal in front of her. We then cut back to the showdown between Gajeel and Natsu, which is just raging on. They're pretty evenly matched, which has kind of become the thing for them. They seem to be on a fairly even footing. It's just that Natsu tends to be a little bit more crazy and rushes in a lot more than Gajeel. I always get fumbled up whenever Gajeel and Jalal are in the same scene, or at least the same chapter, because it's just like, oh god, their names sound so similar. Gray is also getting ready to throw down with the Thunder God Legion, or Thunder God Tribe, whichever you say. And, it's 3-on-1. He immediately starts to have a little bit of trouble with all of this, and Juvia can't step in because she doesn't have her magical power, but he starts getting kicked around. It becomes fairly obvious that he just really can't, get a good hit in with all of them. And it's made even worse because when Freed's enchantment magic comes in and he starts to put up an enchantment that says everyone within this barrier will be unable to use ice magic, which is just like, man, that's so cheap. But again, that's literally Freed's ability doing stuff like that. So it's just like, okay, well, why don't you just use some other magic besides ice magic, Gray? It's just like, it's kind of hard to tell that they're being controlled because this is totally just them. They're kind of douchebags in a certain sense. It really does bring me back to that Battle of Fairy Tail and the showdown with Loxus and all that. It's just like, that's just kind of how they roll, but unbeknownst to them, well, somewhat beknownst to them, but, something that they didn't really think about is the fact that Gray does have an even stronger form of magic than his Ice Make magic, and that's his Demon Slayer magic, which he gets ready to unleash upon the Thunder Legion. And, honestly, that's the one thing that always gotta gets me about Gray. I really do forget about the Demon Slayer magic he has now, because it's not really something he brings out that often. It's kind of his trump card, kind of like Natsu's lightning mode, or Gajeel's shadow mode. They don't really bring it out that often, but when they do, it's just like, boom, there's my boost. I'm about to beat your ass. And honestly, the Thunder Legion is strong enough, but I do not see them holding up against this power. I see this lasting all about maybe half a chapter before he takes them all out and just brushes off his hands and moves on. Like, that's the thing. That's the one sad thing. Most of the members of Fairy Tail who are under the possession aren't really that strong. I mean, Mira Jane, yeah. Jalal, yeah. Gajeel, yeah. Makarov, yeah, but that's about it. That's really about it. That's where the challenge kind of ends after a certain point. And it kind of makes me wonder if Wendy's about to run into Makarov or something, but there's only so many capable people in Fairy Tail, and this really just highlights that. And I wish a lot of them got more powerful because I really liked them back in the day, and I look forward to seeing them involved in more fights, which just stop becoming a thing, especially when the time skip happened and a lot of them just kind of fell back, and the time skip happened and just kind of, oof, you stop really thinking about those other members of Fairy Tail, in juxtaposition to when we had like the Phantom Lord arc and stuff like that, where the entirety of the guild came rushing in, ready to throw down and really show their stuff. We don't get stuff like that anymore, which is very unfortunate. They're just kind of fodder-esque, and that's really a shame. That's really a shame because I love Fairy Tail, I love the characters, but some characters just do not get their what they're due, honestly. But what can you do? I'm just glad they're still around to have fun. But tell me your thoughts, theories, and opinions in the comment section below. How do you feel about this battle of Fairy Tail? And what kind of matchups do you expect to see later down the line? I really do think Makarov might end up going up against Wendy because he feels like the only other like fairly powerful person we haven't seen yet, and Wendy has yet to get to her fight matchup. But Natsu versus Gajeel is pretty cool. He'll probably eventually defeat him. Lucy, I don't know how she's gonna take down Mira Jane because she just does not have it, unless she brings out Ultra. I can't remember the name of that, attack, but that Celestial Star attack, or brings out the Celestial King or something along those lines, but I don't really see that happening. The fight between Jalal and Urza, that should be fairly fun. Last time they've had a fight, Urza backed down from it because she just couldn't bring herself to take him out. But let's be honest, Urza is the kind of character who would have kicked Jalal's ass, so this should be an interesting enough fight. And in terms of Gray, oh shit, we don't know where Loxus is. Huh, I didn't even think about that. Maybe Gray will go up against Loxus after he takes down the Thunder Legion. That would be pretty cool. Like, oof, that's a matchup I never would have thought I'd see, but that would be amazing. But I've rambled on enough. If you liked this video, leave me a like. If you didn't, feel free to leave me a dislike and tell me what I did wrong in the comment section below so I might better myself for future videos. Subscribe and hit the bell icon. That way you never miss out on another Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest chapter review. And if you want to see more of my stuff, how about just Googling Duuz-Diz-Din? I'm everywhere, for better or for worse. Shield your children's eyes. And until the next video, just remember, mix and match your appearance, and you can get some pretty cool combinations, and some pretty powerful ones as well. Until next time, I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and I think it's time for bed. Bye-bye.